Alfonso Cuadra, we are live and we're talking real estate, economic storms, rough seas, uncertainty, fear, uncertainty, doubt, FUD. And right now, you and I, we just came off another event that we did and watching individuals who are kind of putting themselves in the right space, taking advantage of a really interesting market. So let's talk about that. We got an event coming up in this month in Burnaby, British Columbia. So let's talk about that right there.
Burnaby,
Yes.
May 23rd, 24th, 25th, intensive. When I say intensive, Patrick, I'm talking about you sit there for a couple of hours, 9 hours, 8 hours, or whatever it is, and learn and talk and internalize exactly what you need to do right now, because we are living through the best of times. People don't know that yet, but in hindsight, when we look back, we're gonna remember these times where we're living right now.
Yeah, but let's face it. Don't be the genius in hindsight or the could have been in hindsight. How many stories have we heard over the years? I wish I would have, I could have, would have, all the stories that are happening. So 3 days intensive. We're talking multifamily, U.S. investing, raising capital. We're covering a lot of ground over that 3 days. Land development.
Yeah, which is going to be really important I would say in the next 10 years. Based on, again, we're not going to get political. I didn't want to get political on you, but whatever side you're on, they're going to have to deal with housing.
Yes, and it's important for us. So here's the thing about it is that we've been through these economic times, and some would argue, well, it's worse this time, it's different this time, and all the stories that go along with it. And I get it, and I understand that. But economic cycles are economic cycles. We go through highs and lows. And what I call an economic storm that we seem to be facing or people are fearful of, well, many are sitting on the beach. There's others that are learning to navigate those rough waters to actually make headway into whatever port they want to land in, which is that financial security or certainty or even the financial future and freedom that we aspire to have. And real estate is still a way to do that. As a matter of fact, Alfonso, when we look at, there's different reasons now. We look at one fundamental reason, which is the global macro and the devaluation of our dollar and inflation and the reality that asset prices are going to continue to inflate. We have to take advantage of that. That takes guidance. It takes a little bit of courage, but it takes a lot of knowledge and then putting yourself in the right environment with the right community. And that's what we're all about. Real Estate Investment Network, aligning with Wealth Genius, bringing the communities together, you and I, to lead the way and inspire people and support them in creating that financial future. So a little bit of a rant, but that's what we're doing in Burnaby. It's a great opportunity to learn.
Look, if you're in the Burnaby area, or if you're watching this and you're not from Burnaby or from somewhere else in BC or Alberta or across Canada or anywhere in the US or North America, it's definitely worth getting on a plane, booking a hotel and staying with us for 3 days. I'm going to tell you why. Look, back in 2020, we had this little thing called COVID. Remember that?
Just a little thing.
Yeah, a little thing. Remember we were all walking around like this, like, oh, remember the people that wore it like this?
Yeah.
Remember the people that driving their car with their mask? So we had all kinds of craziness, and there was a lot of distractions, a lot of noise out there. Again, I'm not a biologist. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what my wife and I decided to do, instead of sitting at home watching Netflix, we decided to take massive action. And that action paid off tenfold. And we are living through similar times. Obviously, it's disguised as something else. Now it's tariffs or recession, inflation, whatever you want to call it. We call it opportunity. That's what we call it. And so we're excited. And during this time specifically, there's very specific strategies that you need to be applying. And those are the ones that we're going to come and bring to Burnaby. So you got to get there. This Burnaby event is going to be powerful. We did a a 3-day boot camp in Langley last year, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
People that were there are taking massive action because they're ready. They're set up and ready to go. And so you're better off being ready for an opportunity and not get the opportunity than get the opportunity and you're not ready.
So let's just fill off. Okay, but here's a fundamental. Number one, there's a huge discount. It's like $87. I don't remember what the discount is, but it's a great.
Listen, it's a no excuse type of pricing.
It is. That's the first thing. No excuse type of pricing for sure. Secondly, and I want to point something out here that I think we sometimes step over. You took massive action in 2020 through whatever was going down at that time. But here's the thing about it. You weren't investing for what was happening in 2020. You were investing for what was going to happen 2, 3, 5, 10, and 15 years down the road. It just so happens that between 2020 and 2024 and 2025 in that multifamily space, things took off. Yeah. But you saw the future. So this is so critical. The emotions are what drive decisions today, sadly. And our job as real estate investors is to see the real estate future, not be at the effect making emotional decisions based on what's happening today. And that was the fundamental difference. When you made the decision, when you and Helene made the decision in 2020 to take massive action, it wasn't about what was going on today in that regard. Yes, that was the time because you saw the future, and the future was of growth and being able to leverage a lot of capital and a lot of real estate. And today you're enjoying the benefits of that. And it wasn't that long a period of, and it's only going to grow from here. But I mean, you had a pretty hefty 4 or 5 years of growth through that time when everybody else was curled up in the fetal position watching Netflix. You took massive action. So the point of it is that we have to step out of the emotion and look at what the economy is doing today, but more importantly, look into the future. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, is looking at the economic fundamentals that drive our economic future. And we have to, at some level, understand, and you know this, Alfonso, we've both been around long enough to know that the pendulum swings one way, then it swings the other. It goes extreme one way, extreme the other, but it comes back to center. And this is the opportunity for us when the pendulum has swung to the negative side of things, knowing that that pendulum will come back the other direction. And I get it, headlines are doom and gloomers, but that's not what we're about. So I don't know where I'm going with that, other than to say we look into the future, not what's going on today.
Well, during every economic downturn or crisis that there's ever been, since 1995, actually, I started my business in 1995, and they said to me there was a recession, and I always tell people it's kind of comical because thank God I didn't know the meaning of the word. Yeah, because then it might have really stopped me. But I started and I was able to grow with the economy because I started during a time. Look, I started in the clothing business, and I got the rent that I got for my space. I got like 5 months free rent. The guy just rolled out the red carpet. Never in a million years would I ever be able to start my business during a time where everything's leased and there's no space and you got to have money. I had no capital when I started. I just started. It's like bootstrapping. Yeah. And so I got to grow with the economy. Then fast forward to the tech bubble bursting, and that impacted the economy. There was a correction, and people were freaking out. What are we going to do? People losing millions of dollars. That's the moment that I decided to get into real estate, year 2000 roughly, and people said, no, you can't do real estate right now. There's the tech bubble burst and this and that and the other thing. And so thank God I didn't listen to them, or maybe I was too naive to listen to those people, because I was able to take off. My very first year in real estate, I was able to really take off. And then fast forward to 2009, where the sky was falling, the global economic meltdown. I decided to go all in. I went all in on real estate. I don't know what happened to me, but something happened to me where I felt in my heart, because of the experiences that I've been through, I said, I got to go. It doesn't feel right. People think I'm crazy right now, but I got to go all in. And I was able to 10x my portfolio in 2010, 2011, 2012. And ever since then, this is kind of when I've been like screaming from the rooftops, and sometimes people listen and sometimes people don't listen. But
it's such an emotional thing, and this is something that, we have to really point out. 3 days in Burnaby, you get some education, you start to understand it. And then ultimately, this is about having the knowledge, the education, the community to support a long-term plan. This is not get rich quick. As a matter of fact, we're seeing the effects of the get rich, speculative gambling community that went all in Toronto and Calgary and Vancouver on the condo market. Everybody was a genius because it was a boom cycle. We're looking at this, and there is no get rich quick. This is, yes, you're going to get very wealthy. It's not going to happen overnight. You'll probably get you're going to get a double or a triple, and maybe you'll get a home run. Maybe, but that's not what we're planning for. Singles, doubles, triples, we just chug away, and it is get wealthy for certain. If you follow a system, if you don't buy into the emotion and think you're going to get rich quick, and just get the education, put yourself in the right environment to succeed. And that's what the Burnaby 3-day intensive bootcamp is all about. Multifamily investing, US development. I mean, we cover a lot of ground. I'm going to give you an economic update. Yeah, we spend a lot of time working through the mental state that we need to be in to pull this off as well. And, something you and I have seen over 25 years of teaching investors how to invest, that as much as you can learn how to, which is what we teach, you still have to have the mental and the mindset to actually move forward and take the action that you're talking about, Alfonso.
Well, let's talk about the multifamily, for example. People have heard multifamily, they understand it, but sometimes they fear it because it's just complex. And so we're going to demystify it. We're going to make it simple for everyone to do it. And in terms of, safety and security and the long-term vision, multifamily provides that. And so I'm going to go through how to underwrite multifamily, how to identify an opportunity, how not to buy someone else's problem. You can watch a video, get excited about multifamily and say, hey, Patrick and Alfonso say they got to buy multifamily. You end up buying someone else's problem. Yeah. And we don't want that. And so we've already made the mistakes. And so we're bringing all of that to Burnaby. Land development, the MLI Select program, how to buy brand new apartment buildings, how to identify an opportunity, how do you upzone, how to flip the paper. All of those strategies, we're bringing them to Burnaby. And guess what? Some people may want to explore into the U.S. market. And so I touch on that as well. We're not going to teach you how to buy single family homes in the U.S., but we'll teach you how to use the same multi-family strategies and go into markets that are 10 times the size of Canada.
Well, that's the key. Okay, so you said something that we definitely don't want to step over, and that is that we're having the event in Burnaby, but that doesn't mean that you need to or even should necessarily invest in British Columbia. You may look at Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, Ontario. You're going to take and look at other markets where your money is going to work harder for you than you work for your money. And we're going to teach you how to look at the economic fundamentals of a region and of a city that you can make those decisions. So yeah, you may even live in Burnaby, but doesn't mean you wouldn't invest in Chilliwack or, for that matter, Edmonton, Alberta, or gosh, who knows, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. You never know, right? Once you start doing your diligence and you learn how to do that, you make really great investment decisions, buying decisions. And that's what I want to say about that. So as we wind down, Alfonso, anything you want to add here? I see a few people watching. So if people that are watching, I think we can get your comments. If you got any questions, put them in the chat and we'll happy to take them on before we sign off. If you've got a few, if not.
Well, when we were in Edmonton, so we did this 3-day event in Edmonton. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And at the end of it, there was a gentleman His name was Scott, and he said, I learned more in these 3 days with you and Patrick than I did in my entire university degree.
Yeah.
And
So
he's like, and the value here is incredible. By the way, these events, usually they go for about $1,900.
Yeah.
We're doing it for $87 for your community, Patrick.
Link is there. Link is in the chats.
Yeah, get all your information there. But I'm saying $87. You can't go wrong. Less than dinner for two. And guess what? Bring a guest. So we'll do that. You heard it here first. Bring a guest for that $87.
Also, it's two for $87.
Yeah. Less than dinner for two, depending where you're eating.
$40 I had 3 days. Take the time it takes, so it takes less time. Alfonso, thanks for your time, my friend.
And by the way, look how good we look.
Look how good we look. Yeah.
We look pretty good. We got the godfather of real estate and the grandfather of real estate.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I'm young at heart, though. I'm not, so Alfonso, thanks, my friend. We'll catch you up soon.
All right.